Live from the Canadian capital, this is the GBN Television News. GBN, covering you from the Grenadine Island chain to Brooklyn, New York, via the World Wide Web on www.gbn.tv.
The news headlines comes to you compliments. Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
But when you need someone to help you to your feet, I'll be that beacon to your highest peak. I'll be right next to you, no, I will never leave. Come on, take my hands, we got everything we need. Cause you can look to me whenever you're in need. Just call on me and I'll be on my way. I'll be by your side, never to divide, the light that shines our way. Wherever you road leads, we'll make your dreams come true. Nexa, Nexa, Nexa,
Nexa Credit Union, with you wherever your road leads.
This is the Network News for Monday, February the 13th, 2023. I'm Stasia Blake. In the headlines, government to absorb more than $2.5 million in debt as it moves towards reforming the MNIB. Implementation Minister Andy Williams to act as Prime Minister as PM Deacon Mitchell attends CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in the Bahamas. 15 Haitians to be repatriated from Grenada. And in around the globe, in the region, Guyana Shore-Based Inc. hailed as a shining beacon in Guyana's oil sector. And in international news, U.S. jet shoots down fourth flying object, saying it flew near sensitive military sites and was risk to civilian aircrafts. Coming up in sports, England cruised to 7-wicket win over West Indies in the Women's T20 World Cup. Details right after this message.
The first segment of the news comes to you compliments. Soft Weave Bathroom Tissue.
Have you heard about the new Soft Weave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Soft Weave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue. Available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Soft Weave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Good evening. This is GBN's News at 7. Governments will absorb the present debt owed by the Marketing and National Importing Board as it makes room for the revamping of the entity. The decision on the way forward for the MNIB was announced today at a special press briefing. Christina John has details.
It will no longer be the Marketing and National Importing Board. That entity will be dissolved and reformed under a new name and ownership. That's the Cabinet concluded decision as disclosed by Prime Minister Honorable Deacon Mitchell during a special press briefing on Monday at Parliament Building at Mount Weldale, St. George. He indicated that Cabinet has given the green light on the revamping of the MNIB, approving a number of approaches for a successful new entity. The current MNIB will be closed and all 94 employees will be disengaged.
Summary, the staff will be severed as at the end of February, and the government will assume the liabilities for paying the staff their severance. 2, the government will assume liability for the existing approximately, and note I say approximately, $15.1 million worth of MNIB's debt. 3, the government will on its ability to assume the debt and, if necessary, renegotiate the payment of the debt over a period of time, have the assets of MNIB transferred to the government. Thereafter, we will expect the technical working group to do its work during the 6-month period, and that will include the creation of a new entity. We will then expect that we will transfer some of the assets of MNIB, particularly the River Road facility, into the new entity, and we would go about seeking private sector investment during the 6-month period to be able to take part in the new public-private partnership.
The PM also explained that between February and September, government will take a two-pronged approach towards reforming the MNIB. The present board will be responsible for the closing of the outlets. As part of this transformation, the Prime Minister mentioned the appointment of a technical board to assist with the formation of a new entity under a public-private partnership.
We will also appoint a technical working group, and the technical working group job would essentially be during the 6-month period while we are winding on the Marketing and National Importing Board, would be to assist the government with the creation of a new entity. We envisage that entity will be a public-private partnership between the government of Grenada, private sector individuals, members of the public who may be interested, and other stakeholders, including farmers cooperatives who may be interested in investing in the Marketing and National Importing Board. The technical working group, therefore, will pay attention towards the creation. Essentially, their mandate will be to help government with creating the new entity.
During its operation, the MNIB has accumulated a high debt bill that government has agreed to absorb.
We expect that the board will concentrate on the River Road facility and the packing house to continue servicing our farmers during the next 6 months. During that period, the board would be responsible for the management of the winding down of the MNIB operations. In addition to severing the staff and undertaking the liability to pay the staff, the government will also assume liability for the estimated $15.1 million of debt that the Marketing and National Importing Board is currently unable to pay. To that end, the Ministry of Finance will lead the negotiations with the third parties, including the banks and other third parties that Marketing Board is owing.
The Prime Minister says preference will be given to employees who are severed to be rehired once they meet the criteria. Farmers who have produce can still sell to the MNIB, however, at their own risk, meaning once the MNIB can afford to pay them, they can proceed to do business. Christelina John, GBN News.
Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell travels Tuesday to attend the 44th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, in Nassau, Bahamas. The announcement was made by Prime Minister Mitchell during Monday's press conference.
I will be traveling on Tuesday, tomorrow, to attend the CARICOM Heads of Conference meeting in the Bahamas. I will be returning to the state of Grenada on Saturday. During my absence, the Honorable Andy Williams, MP for the constituency of St. George South, will act as Prime Minister.
Special guest attending the 44th meeting of the conference, carded for February the 15th and 16th, is Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. Prime Minister Mitchell says the issue of visa restrictions is one he intends to address with the Canadian leader.
We certainly feel that there's no justification for continuing to require Grenadians to get a visa to travel to Canada. In fact, I think from where we sit, I think that there's no justification for a Grenadian to get a visa to travel anywhere in the world, because we really do not think that our citizens pose any security risk, any social risk to anyone. For the most part, Grenadians either travel for leisure, tourism purposes, or they travel to study, or they travel to work. And clearly, if they're traveling to work, they will only do so on proper documentation in the particular country in which they're going. So I don't think there's any. Grenada is not a place where people are persecuted. It's not a place where people are fleeing any political, social, or religious issues. We don't have an army. There's no risk of really. There's no political, social, or economic risk, I think, to any country posed by Grenada.
Other issues to be addressed will include lobbying for the Citizenship by Investment program.
Second, we also will be, in fact, looking to lobby Canada and other countries so that they understand what our CBI programs are about, so that they can, in fact, help support the continuation of the programs and to push back against some of countries who may have a misconception about what the CBI program is about, so we would certainly be looking to get their support for that. We are also aware that there are Grenadians who go to Canada to engage in short-term farming, particularly with things like the picking of apples and other produce and so on. So we certainly want to ensure that Grenadians continue to get those opportunities as well. While obviously tourism, the tourism market is another area that is of particular interest to us, between us and the Canadians, and so air travel is one of the challenges that we continue to face, and that is something we certainly want to look at to see how the Canadian government can help. And then finally, I would say technical assistance to help build our capacity in several areas that we believe the Canadians may be able to assist us with. So those are some of the issues we expect to raise with the Prime Minister.
The Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, brings together the leaders of 20 Caribbean governments. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell says government is moving to repatriate 15 Haitian nationals who arrived in the country without financing to sustain themselves in Grenada.
Yesterday, 15 Haitian nationals entered Grenada at the Maurice Bishop International Airport via Trinidad en route from St. Martin, with their final destination being Grenada. The immigration officials, after conducting the necessary checks, formed the view that the Haitian nationals did not have sufficient means to be able to take care of themselves while in Grenada, and formed the view that they would therefore be a charge on the public purse. As a result, the decision has been taken to repatriate the Haitians. We are currently in discussions with our colleagues in Trinidad and Tobago and St. Martin to do so. So they're currently being housed by us, and we are making efforts to get a flight to get them out of Grenada on tonight.
The Prime Minister explained the grounds on which approximately 7 females and 8 males will be repatriated.
And what is the average cost of living in Grenada? If you're not a citizen of Grenada and you come to Grenada, you could only be staying at a hotel, unless you're a friend or family. And in the absence of friends or family, then it means you have to be able to afford a hotel, at least for one night. And if you don't have cash or credit card that allows you to afford a hotel for one night, it means you don't have a place to stay. And if you don't have a place to stay, and we let you into our community, what's going to happen? It means we, as a state, will have to take care of you. So the immigration officers, in their normal routine checks, were able to ascertain and make the determination that, in fact, they would become a charge on the public purse if they were permitted to in fact, enter the state.
The Prime Minister said that issues presently plaguing Haiti will be on the agenda of issues to be discussed at the 44th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, in Nassau, Bahamas.
We also would want to address with the Canadians the situation in Haiti. I started off by making reference to the fact that we currently have Haitians here that we are looking to send back. But the reality is, I think, as CARICOM, and given that Haiti is part of CARICOM, we have to accept that a sister nation of ours is in serious and dire straits, and it impacts the lives of the citizens, and you understand why citizens would want to move or leave Haiti. And I think, therefore, as a region, including Canada, the US, and CARICOM, we have to come up with solutions to address the migration situation that the challenge poses in Haiti, and ask whether or not there should or should not be a policy in place for us to receive some of the Haitians in our respective islands to assist our brothers and sisters in Haiti.
Kester Bailey of Morne-de-Lis St. David's will spend 12 months behind bars for escaping police custody. Nisha Paul reports.
High Court Judge Madam Justice Victoria Charles Clark handed down the custodial sentence to 38-year-old Kester Bailey at the St. George's No. 2 High Court on Friday morning. The sentence comes weeks after Bailey pleaded guilty to escaping lawful custody on January 20th. He was picked up by police investigators for questioning in connection with the offense of stealing from a dwelling house, which occurred in the south of the island on June 19th, 2022. According to his attorney Jerry Edwin, the now convicted man was handcuffed to a railing inside of the South St. George police station when he miraculously escaped, while police officers attended to a disorderly inmate.
About 2 hours later, he returned to the station. because he said he had some personal hygiene issues to deal with. But there can be no excuse once one is in police custody. One must remain within the jurisdiction of the police until such time that the matter is resolved. But the judge saw the circumstances of his eventual return to the station as a mitigating factor, and instead of a 2-year sentence, she instead sentenced him to 12 months. He's serving 7 months because he had spent time on remand for that offense.
The attorney also confirmed that his client is a repeat offender who has other stealing matters pending before the court. For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
This is News at 7. Coming up, 5th round of consultations held in Livera CBI project. Stay with us.
Ridgeway Residences, a modern, exclusive residential community offered by Ariza. Purchase one of our completely built houses or let us build for you by simply choosing your lot, choosing your home design from our selection, and let us do the rest. Owning a home does not have to be a frustrating process. For more information, contact Ariza Credit Union on 415-0994 or send us an email on info@ridgewayresidences.gd. Ridgeway Residences, hassle-free home ownership.
Grenada, after 10 years.
Hey, Grenada, this is Pastor Donnie McClurkin, and get this, I am coming to the land of spice.
The multi-award-winning Pastor Donnie McClurkin is back live at the Grenada National Stadium for one night of praise and worship, where your hearts will be lifted heavenward, joined by some of Grenada's finest gospel talent, Lexton Mitchell, Edson Mitchell, Ajabo, Spice Worship Ministries, Nicole Fletcher Newton and Company, Touch of Grace, and the PBC Choir. Tickets are on sale now, $50, and can be found at all major ticket outlets and at your local churches. Don't miss this unique experience with classic songs like Stand, We Fall Down, Caribbean Medley, Great Is Your Mercy, and many more. Friday, 7th April 2023 at 7 p.m.
Got my mind made up, and I won't turn back, because I want to see my Jesus someday.
Grenada, I don't think what Flow giving out $30,000 in cash and prizes. Unlimited talk. Free WhatsApp and social media. Up to 90% off on smartphones. So you're getting more savings, more value, and more speed on the best telecommunication network on the island. And all you have to do, top up as low as $5, sign up for postpaid and our broadband, switch up to our beautiful network, pay your bills on time, activate a combo plan, and bundle your services to save more and win more. So visit us in stores today to be a part of our More Fun More promotion with Flow.
It's more with Flow now, you really know. Get you now. All these deals make you save more. Get more.
Need a home, car, education, dream vacation? The National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Jackpot is $306,000. Play today for chances at a more satisfying life. Lotto. Play and win a lot of money. Somebody call Waggy because
this is madness, total madness.
Sunday, March 5th from 5 p.m. The National Stadium comes alive as Megaforce Promotion presents its first big event for 2023. March Madness Mega Bingo. And you can win a whopping $100,000 in cash.
Wait, is $100,000 you just said that?
Yes, $100K in cash could be yours. Tickets are $60 for one or $100 for two.
You gotta be mad to miss that.
Remember, Sunday, March 5th, National Stadium. Get ready for March Madness Mega Bingo.
This is madness, total madness.
WeatherGuard Pro. For every project, there's only one Pro.
Building or renovating your home or business? Why not use clean, renewable energy? Install solar panels to power your home and office and see your energy costs go down and your savings go up. Using renewable solar-powered energy protects our environment, reduces our carbon footprint, and slows the devastating impact of climate change. Republic Bank can help to finance construction and renovations that make use of renewable energy. Visit any Republic Bank branch and ask about renewable energy financing options today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
You ate well, drank and indulged, laughed and had so much fun for the festive season. But now it's time. It's time for some serious detox business at Nirvana Detox Center and Natural Health Store. Start the year right with your health as a priority. Cleanse and flush your blood, liver, and kidneys with quality herbs and supplements. Purchase one of our detox combo packs starting from $100. Purchase a full body detox pack starting from $500. Get 10% off on colonic irrigation. Get a chance to win a free colonic irrigation treatment and product coupons with every purchase. We are located in Grandin, minutes before the Food Fair Shopping Center, immediately opposite the old Capital Bank building in the Regency Commercial Suites. Give us a call at 231-6642 or 418-7115 or visit nirvana.gd for more info. It's time for some serious detox business at Nirvana Detox Center and Natural Health Store. We know real body care. This offer is valid until March 31st, 2023. Terms and conditions apply.
And leads, the others follow. This segment is brought to you by Republic Bank.
Building or renovating your home or business? Why not use clean, renewable energy? Install solar panels to power your home and office and see your energy costs go down and your savings go up. Using renewable solar-powered energy protects our environment, reduces our carbon footprint, and slows the devastating impact of climate change. Republic Bank can help to finance construction and renovations that make use of renewable energy. Visit any Republic Bank branch and ask about renewable energy financing options today.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
One emergency led to another emergency late Sunday evening when an ambulance from St. George's University met in an accident on Lucas Street in St. George while en route to the General Hospital. Reports reaching GBN are that the driver of the ambulance was in the process of transporting a patient to the hospital when the incident occurred. Preliminary reports indicate that one of the wheels bumped into a step and exploded. Two other tires exploded before the vehicle eventually ran into a wall. There are no reports of injuries, and the patient was taken to the hospital by another ambulance. The announcement of the Trevelyan family's intent to pay over $500,000 in reparations to Grenada has given rise to calls for the monies to be paid to people who are direct descendants of enslaved Africans owned by the wealthy British family. Here's Nisha Paul with that story.
Now that this family, the Trevelyan family, is given £100,000 towards that initiative, I do agree that that money should go to the descendants of enslaved African people. The money going to the University of the West Indies, I have a problem with that.
Curlin Campbell is a journalist and a member of the Stakeholders Committee, a subcommittee of the Grenada National Reparations Commission. The commission comprises distinguished scholars and civil and human rights activists who are committed to advancing the quest for reparations for people of African descent in Grenada and throughout the Caribbean region. Although he commends the move now being made by the family, Campbell, who spoke with GBN in his personal capacity, is among the critics who believe that the reparations fund should not be controlled by the University of the West Indies. The fund is geared towards setting up a reparations research fund to look into the economic impact of enslavement, with emphasis on the development in Grenada and other Eastern Caribbean countries.
The whole issue of reparations is a bit is a ticklish situation because remember, we weren't the ones that were enslaved. However, we have the residual effects of slavery present. We feel that the presence of that even to this day. Now, the challenge would be is so how do we now prove that we are direct descendants of a particular family? And I think that's where you have to trace back now your family heritage. I'm sure that could be done. I'm sure that there are archives, there are documents that could, so that you could directly link to one of your ancestors that was enslaved.
Campbell has 3 questions for Sir Hilary Beckles, the Vice Chancellor of UWI, who will launch the fund here on February 27, in collaboration with Laura Trevelyan and members of her family.
1, is the money going to pay researchers? 2, if the money is going to researchers, how much are they being paid and why can they work pro bono on this important issue? 3, the Trevelyan family, how much are they worth and what was the extent of the wealth amassed during slavery? And I think these are the questions that we should know before we get too happy about an initiative, £100,000, which is just a drop in the bucket.
Laura Trevelyan has acknowledged the inadequacy of the £100,000 apology.
Our family received the equivalent of about £3 million in compensation when slavery was abolished. We got that money in 1834. So for me to be giving £100,000 almost 200 years later for a fund that's going to look at economic development in Grenada and the Eastern Caribbean, maybe that seems like it's really inadequate. But I hope that we're setting an example by apologizing for what our ancestors did by enslaving the people of Grenada.
Meanwhile, Chair of the Grenada National Reparations Commission, Arlie Gill, says the commission is working to have the names of slaves who were owned by the Trevelyans displayed during the handing over ceremony. The Trevelyans owned 1,004 enslaved Africans across 5 estates in Grenada. For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.
The Livera Development Project continued community consultations on Saturday as part of its bid to keep residents in the St. Patrick community and surrounding areas in the loop about the project, including findings and recommendations from the Environmental Impact Assessment. GBN attended the weekend's consultation.
In keeping with promises to engage the local communities surrounding Livera, the developers of the Livera project began a series of consultations in February 3 years ago, just before the COVID-19 pandemic. Those consultations, though interrupted by COVID-19, resumed in 2021 and continued, with the latest being held over the weekend. Concerned residents were not shy to pose questions to the team from Singaporean Heng Sheng Development Limited, the developers behind the Grenada Livera National Tourist Resort.
That we've seen the big trucks carrying material. That is happening already. So how is it that discussions will take place after what we're seeing?
We are aware that golf courses comes with significant negative impacts on the environment, particularly ecologically sensitive areas as we have.
I think a lot of the concern is why so big? Why do we need such a big resort in this part of the island? We don't need that. We don't need 500 rooms. We don't need something that is taking so much space that you could do half of that.
You're building, all the trucks are going now, and I was wondering, did we look at any environmental impact that we're going to have on the roads and infrastructure of how you're going to get all the cement and all the on the small roads we have here.
Representative of the developer, Kevin Drew, welcomed the input of the community members.
I'm very happy and glad for your participation to this special event. And your support, your advice and comments will be part of the contribution of the development of the project. As far as I know, that we have already conducted 4 rounds of a public consultation before, but this time we're still looking forward for your good advice and support. The construction of our golf course project has already started last year since June, and we have already completed 80% of the clearing and tree cutting. And our expectation is to operate the the golf course within 2 years.
This was the fifth round of consultations held between the developers and the communities. Since the project was announced, several environmental advocates called for a stop to the project because of what they believe would be negative environmental impacts on the protected sites within proximity of the project. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Grenada is littered with historical valuables. Let's see what was uncovered through the GBN Eyesore lens.
A good eye captures all. GBN Eyesore is brought to you by Clear Vision.
Life is beautiful if only you can see it. Clear Vision Eye Center helps you do just that. We provide expert service, classy eyewear, and cutting-edge technology, all with a quality customer experience. See better, feel better, and look better. Meet us today at clearvisiongrenada.com or call 444-0055, WhatsApp 409-0055, or follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Clear Vision Eye Center. Let's see life and the world with a clear vision.
A bit of history is embedded in tonight's eyesore submission. This majestic historic great house is part of the remnants of the Boussejou estate, once a sugarcane plantation. Our citizen journalist says, and I quote, "It stands stately in all its splendor, conspicuously overlooking the bucolic hills above the western main road," end quote. Adding that even as we indulge in its prominent beauty, it is an austere and symbolic reminder of our history, from where we came to independence. This submission was made as Grenada celebrates its 49th anniversary of independence. Your submissions are always welcomed via our WhatsApp at 405-3052 or via our Facebook and Instagram pages.
And still ahead, Don McKenzie named Acting Commissioner of Police. This is News at 7.
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Stasia Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Stasia Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Stasia Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grand Anse. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services. CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679 or 440-1500. or visit any of our 3 locations. Stasia Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
What does it take to be an amazing woman? Lots of me time. Amazing women are classy, fancy, and a little sassy. It's the drink for me. Cheers! Sometimes you've got to show them who's boss. Alpha male? Nah, alpha females are more amazing. Cheers to securing the bag. We make time for ourselves, for work, friends, and we certainly make time for passion. We're simply amazing. Amazing cream liqueur for the amazing woman in you.
Affordable quality products delivered to you via Superb Service. We are Superb Distributors, wholesalers and authorized agents for trusted products you know and love, like Rika Juices, Pure Heaven products, Bibin diapers, New Bright laundry detergent, Allegro pasta, and more.
Contact Superb Distributors at 435-2948 for superb quality and service.
level of convenience and comfort awaits you when you shop at Rise and Shine Supermarket and Hardware Supplies, Griffin Lane, Grenville. Convenient, because we are open Sunday to Sunday. We're even at your service on public holidays. Comfort, because we are easily accessible to the physically challenged. Free Wi-Fi is available while you shop, and bags come at no charge. Everyday low prices and excellent customer care. Adequate parking available. We supply everything you can possibly think of. Family and home supplies, fresh meat, vegetables, and personal care products. All brands of cooking gas at affordable prices. You can send in your order, have it pulled, or pick up express.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
It's GBN. We've got the means, the power, and the medium. This segment is brought to you by Flow.
Paying is faster and easier with Flow FastPay. Use your MasterCard or Visa and pay from anywhere. Log on to discoverflow.co/fastpay and press Consumer. Select your country and enter your account number. Enter the amount to be paid and an email address. Enter your credit card information. You'll receive a payment confirmation with the transaction details, along with a receipt to your email address. It's fast, safe, and easy. Flow, keeping you connected.
And welcome back. Reports were in circulation early Monday that Commissioner of Police Edwin Martin will be out of office due to ill health. As Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Deacon Mitchell addressed the media on Monday and announced the appointment of an acting Commissioner of Police.
The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Edwin Martin, effective as of today, will be on medical leave for approximately 8 weeks. During that period, Mr. Don McKenzie, the current Deputy Commissioner of Police, will act as Commissioner of Police.
And looking at how mediation can aid in the reduction of matters ending before the court system, more than 30 police officers from the Grenada Royal Police Force are presently engaged in a 1-week impact justice training workshop. Christina John attended the opening ceremony and filed this report.
The training of police officers attached to the Royal Grenada Police Force is aimed at looking at mediation as a court alternative dispute resolution mechanism. This is the 5th such training to take place. Although mediation will not lessen the number of reports needing police intervention, it will, however, impact hours of preparation and volume of documents needed to go to court. That's according to Executive Officer responsible for crimes, Superintendent Vanny Cohen, delivering remarks on behalf of Commissioner Edwin Martin.
Our criminal justice system depended heavily on our courts to settle and determine disputes between conflicting parties. This traditional approach towards conflict resolution resulted in many of our citizens being incarcerated for what are minor or trivial offenses that would have affected the economic and social lives of many of our families and communities. Therefore, the advent of mediation provided an avenue and framework for alternative dispute resolution that, when conceptualized and implemented properly, would lessen the burden on traditional court times and state resources.
The police superintendent hopes this will contribute positively to the statistics they are faced with annually, hence reducing figures for fines and imprisonment in favor of mediation. Mediation trainer Urban Delore says they are looking at all aspects of mediation, with greater emphasis, however, on simulations, providing hands-on experience with actual mediations.
Notwithstanding, though, we do have an agenda which includes such things as mechanics of mediation, how to do a contract, how to do an agreement, some of the psychological principles associated with mediation, and the whole question of the difference between position and interest. We also provide them with some understanding of negotiation skills. When you mediate two parties, what you are attempting to do is to help them to negotiate, because as mediators, we do not actually provide a solution, we do not provide an agreement, we allow the parties to do that.
Dispute resolution practitioner Miles Wicks is another facilitator. He says what they are pushing for is to have as many persons trained in mediation, as it is a life-changing approach that will support officers in their engagements with the public.
Any method of ADR, alternative dispute resolution, which is any method of dispute resolution that does not use the court system, I'm engaged in, which is arbitration, adjudication, and mediation. And I'm here as a coach, which is a person to help the parties, help the participants understand the training and how to apply it. As you were told, we do simulations, and each one here that's attending this course will have an opportunity at least twice to practice the skills that we're teaching them in mediation to resolve disputes.
Looking at this mechanism from a police standpoint was O'Neill Smalls.
And very often when police officers go out there on the front line to solve a dispute, mediation skills can resolve a lot of that before it gets to brutality, physical injury, or even murder.
Christina John, GBN News.
And stay with us, we'll have the Force Report for you next.
We support you at every stage of your life.
For business,
for your education,
for your financial freedom,
for that new ride.
Upgrade your life with the Communal. Contact us today.
Sunday, February 26th, it's Savior's Day with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. His subject, the War of Armageddon has begun.
The Great War has begun. And foreign wars and the plagues that are hitting America and the world is destroying the American economy.
Sunday, February 26th, live in the Wintrust Arena. Doors open at noon. Get your tickets now at all Ticketmaster outlets and get all the details at noi.org.
When you need your prescription filled or you require non-prescribed medication, supplements, or all your personal needs, visit Gittins Healthcare at locations on Wall Street, Grand Anse, Victoria Street, Granville, and Central Deputy Street, Wall. Gittins Healthcare aims to provide an exceptional personalized pharmacy experience. Additionally, children under 5 and adults 55 years and over will enjoy 10% discount on purchases of $20 and over on prescription medication. Stop settling for less. Visit Gittins Healthcare, where your health is our priority.
Last week on All Climate Reality.
What we're encountering is something we're calling an enhanced greenhouse effect. This is a phenomenon where the gases that create the greenhouse of the atmosphere are increasing in concentration.
The amount of concrete that we have in our society now
compared to 30 years ago is a major issue, because when the sun hits that, it's not getting into the soil where we have carbon sequestration happening. So that bongs back and goes back into the atmosphere and increase the carbon dioxide stock. But a lot of people want to live on the slope, so we deforesting the slopes, and trees is one of the biggest inhibitors of carbon dioxide. They take in so much of it. So every tree we cut means that there is going to be an increase in us producing greenhouse gas, and increasing our greenhouse gas.
Join us this Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Our Climate Reality as the discussion delves into the impacts of climate change. GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11, K105, and all our social media platforms.
I want you folks to play these 3 games from the NLA. Daily pick 3 cash flow and play with. You will be supporting sports and culture, nation building and our future. So go out and play, folks, make it a must. You will see what the National Lottery is doing for us. When you play pick 3 cash flow and play with, the NLA will support you all the way.
Starting September 30th, Monday to Friday, these 3 games will be drawn mid-morning, 9:45 a.m., midday, 12:45 p.m., and evenings, 7:45 p.m. The National Lotteries, supporting sports, culture, and nation building.
Sunday money day.
Well, now for a look at what's happening in the world of sports. The West Indies women started their 2023 ICC Women's T20 World Cup campaign with a 7-wicket loss at the hands of England women at Bowling Park in Pal on Saturday. The 2016 World T20 champions made 135 for 7 from their 20 overs, their highest total since December 2022, after winning the toss and electing to bat first. Here's the report.
The tournament started off in the perfect way for the Windies women by virtue of winning the toss, but also having the services of former captain Stephanie Taylor, who has not featured all year. Batting first, Captain Hayley Matthews and Taylor had the team off to a solid start as the Barbadian crunched 8 boundaries in the power play to take the 2016 champions to 47 without loss. Taylor looked a shadow of herself and was put out of her misery for 3 from 15 balls in the 7th over. Vice captain Shemaine Campbell joined Matthews, but that partnership only valued 22 runs until the skipper was dislodged for a top score of 42 at 69 for 2. Shabika Gajnabi lasted only 3 deliveries and the Windies women slipped to 71 for 3. Campbell 34 and Jamaican Chanel Henry 14 resurrected the Windies to 112 for 3 in the 16th over with a few lusty blows. And there was promise of getting close to 150, but all of that dissipated with a flurry of wickets at the end. The Windies limping to 135 for 7 with Sophie claiming 3 for 23. England, who are one of the favourites for the title, were given a blistering start by Sophia Dunkley and Danny Wyatt. They raced to 37 within 4 overs before Wyatt departed to Henry for 11. 13 runs later, Henry, in the midst of the carnage, pulled off a stunner to remove Dunkley for 34.
Charge. And she's still going. What's a catch? What an outstanding catch there from Chanel Henry.
When Afi Fletcher deceived Alice Capsey at 71 for 3, the door opened for a comeback for the Caribbean team, but that was slammed shut by Captain Heather Knight and the Nat Siver. In a dominant 67-run 4th wicket partnership, the two displayed power and precision to finish the game off with 33 balls to spare. The emphatic nature of the win came at a run rate of 9.5 runs per over, the highest ever in a World T20 chase for the women's game, over 100 runs. The Windies take on India next Wednesday as they look to break a 13-game winless streak. Jerome Foster, TVJ Sports.
And it was a matter of careless batting and their opponents' doggedness that eventually eroded the authority of West Indies after a destructive spell from left-arm spinner Gudakesh Modi enabled them to dismiss Zimbabwe cheaply on Sunday. And at stumps on day number 2, the West Indies had 290 for 8, while we remind you that Zimbabwe made 115 runs in their first set of innings. Here's the story.
Now, on a day heavily interrupted by rain, the West Indies remained in firm control of the second test against host Zimbabwe in Bulawayo at stumps on day 2 as they hold a 175-run first innings lead. Replying to a paltry 115, the Windies were 290 for 8 when rain and bad light stopped play for a second time in the day. Former captain Jason Holder is on 3 and Gudakesh Modi on 11. Resuming the day on 133 for 4, Roston Chase was top scored so far with 70 and Kyle Mayer's 30 shared in a 60-run fifth-wicket partnership before Chase and Joshua Da Silva put on 85 runs for the 6th wicket. Da Silva 44 and Alzari Joseph 4 were the other batsmen dismissed on the day. Now, medium pacer Victor Enyoachi 3 for 56 and Brandon Mavuta 3 for 73 are the pick of the bowlers so far. Play is set to resume at 2:30 Tuesday morning.
And Presentation Brothers College is the new champion of the 2023 Male Subway Secondary Schools Basketball Tournament. We get more from the Ministry of Sports Communications Officer, Karine Moraine Alexander.
It's pure excitement here at the Karanach Court. We've just seen the defeat of GBS's defending champions to PBC. PBC scoring a total score of 69-67. So we have new champions in the Subway Secondary Schools Basketball Tournament, Male Division, PBC. They just defeated the defending champions, GBSS. What you're hearing in the background is the PBC drum section. They're quite happy. The Old Foot Cannons has taken it home.
Grenada had much to be proud of when the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs squared off at the Super Bowl on Sunday as a son of the soil played in one of the teams. Zach Pascal, 28, who plays as a wide receiver with the Eagles, has Grenadian roots. Zach Pascal's parents, Royan and Deslyn Peters, are from Grenada. And in a DC News Now report, they said their son's journey started as young as 6 years old. Pascal played college football at Old Dominion. And that's what's been happening in the world of sports. Now for a look at what's been happening around the region and the wider globe. After 5 years in operation, the entrepreneurial risk taken by a local company, Guyana Shore Base Inc., GYSBI, is being hailed as a unique Guyanese success story. On Friday, the company commissioned 2 additional heavy lift berths at an overall cost of US $25 million on reclaimed land at its Houston East Bank Demerara facility along the Demerara River. Kurt Campbell has our story.
Backed by its 705 employees, 95% of which are Guyanese, Guyana Shore Base Inc. GISB recently secured an additional 11-year contract on the initial 5 years from ExxonMobil's local affiliate Esso Exploration Production Guyana Limited, a signal that the growing company will be in business for the long haul. Now the company boasts of being a fully integrated shore base. During the commissioning ceremony for 2 new berths and the crane on Friday, GISB's executive director Robin Munishwaru reminded that the company initially started with 8 acres of laydown yard, 2 berths, and 1 warehouse.
This exponential growth has been largely fueled by the unparalleled success Exxon has had in its exploration activities and the ability of Gisby to fulfill its clients' needs.
The first 2 berths were built in the pre-oil era before Gisby won the tender. Now it has become increasingly important that over 30 vessels arriving and leaving the shore base with offshore supplies weekly. The berths are important for mooring vessels and provide a vertical front which allows safe and secure mooring that can then facilitate the loading of cargo or people. It is important to note that the expansion of Gisby has seen services previously procured out of Trinidad now being supplied locally.
Some are wondering if St. Lucia has made progress in its march towards the establishment of a cannabis industry. The Cannabis Task Force has promised to apprise the public of the status of cannabis law reform.
Setting up a full-fledged regulated commercial cannabis industry in St. Lucia remains a work in progress, with the Cannabis Task Force leading the charge in fine-tuning the legislative framework that will guide the budding sector. PRO of the Cannabis Task Force, Vern Emmanuel, informs the public that the wait is almost over as he updated the populace on the status of cannabis law reform in a recent interview with News Force. The upcoming symposium, according to Emmanuel, will offer officials an opportunity to dissect the idiosyncrasies of the potential creation of the marijuana industry in St. Lucia. Emmanuel says that the task force has pursued a framework that will be inclusive of medicinal, industrial, and research, and getting it right is critical to stakeholders who do not intend to sacrifice due diligence on the altar of expedience. The Cannabis Task Force PRO hopes the cannabis bill will be brought before lawmakers this year, which would signal that a legal and regulatory framework would be in place for the efflorescence of a cannabis industry. Solange Alfred, HCS News Force.
United States fighter jets have shot down another unidentified object flying near the Canadian border in the Midwest. The Pentagon said this is the latest incident since a suspected Chinese surveillance balloon put North American security forces on high alert.
Planes flying over Michigan close to Lake Huron after the 4th high-altitude object was shot down in just 8 days. The Pentagon says it's unprecedented, and beyond its size and altitude, little is known about the latest octagonal object down by a U.S. jet. Officials say it posed no security threats, but they aren't ruling out anything.
Have you ruled out aliens or extraterrestrials, and if so, why?
I'll let the intel community and the counterintelligence community figure that out. I haven't ruled out anything at this point. We continue to assess every threat or potential threat unknown that approaches North America with an attempt to identify it.
Sitting in my driveway.
In January, a giant Chinese balloon drifted for days over American and Canadian airspace before it was shot down earlier this month off the South Carolina coast. U.S. officials called it a surveillance object, but China insisted it was conducting weather research. Since then, 3 unidentified objects have been downed, but only the first has been attributed to Beijing.
It's been publicly reported that the Chinese have had a very robust system of utilizing balloons for surveillance in the sovereign airspace of other countries. Reportedly, the Chinese have violated the airspace of over 40 countries worldwide, utilizing this system of surveillance balloons.
The incidents have further strained ties between Washington and Beijing, with Secretary of State Antony Blinken calling off a visit meant to ease relations. And it's prompted questions about the extent of China's surveillance in the United States. Kulsum Sharif.
And that's what's been happening around the region and the wider globe. We'll be back with a recap of what's been happening on the shores of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. Now for a recap of the night's top headlines. Government to absorb more than $2.5 million in debt as it moves towards reforming the MNIB. Implementation Minister Andy Williams to act as Prime Minister as Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell attends CARICOM Heads of Government meeting in the Bahamas. 15 Haitians to be repatriated from Grenada. And in around the globe, in the region, Guyana Shore-based Inc. hailed as a shining beacon in Guyana's oil sector. In international news, U.S. jet shoots down fourth flying object, saying it flew near sensitive military sites and was risked to civilian aircraft. In sports, England cruised to 7-wicket win over West Indies in the Women's T20 World Cup. If you missed any part of this newscast, there will be a rebroadcast at 10 o'clock tonight. Continue to follow us online at gbn.gd or on GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel for these and other top stories. I'm Stasia Blake, and that's the news. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
The dry weather season is upon us. It is a time when we all experience the perils of limited water supplies, increased fires, and drought. What do we do? Mother Earth is crying. Are we listening? Let us not get caught unprepared. Join the discussion on Monday